Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I just thought I'd return to you for this Tuesday album review finally. I'm so sorry that I haven't gotten to the Tuesday album review sooner. There was going to be a Tuesday album review I was going to review, which would have been a country album, but honestly, I wanted to scratch that out because I've already reviewed it. But eventually, I might re review it, but I don't know when. Other than that, this is for Ice Nine Kills' Last Chance to Make Amends album, their 2006 album. I got a chance to listen to for myself for the 11 songs for the remastered version to let you know what I was going to think of these tracks. So I'm going to discuss from tracks 1 to 11 of this 35 minute record and let you know my thoughts on this release overall for their debut studio album. So let's dive into the first song. And our story begins as the opening track, which is a pretty solid opener. It's got some weird siren noises and this breaking news moments with the news reporters talking and all that. So you hear that in the background of the song for the intro track. So it's only like 42 seconds. It's not very long. But then it leads into the next song, Last Words. So 4.75 out of 5. Last Words is a pretty strong track. I really enjoyed Spencer Charnas's emo singing in this track. Did very well. And if the video lags a bit from time to time, I am so sorry about that. It's just the video's been lagging a lot lately because I have the Ethernet cable plugged in and it just takes up so much storage space and all that, or some kind of lagging issues on my laptop with the internet being connected to the laptop. But to get back on track, Last Words is a pretty strong track, so it's a 5 out of 5. I like the screaming moments from Spencer and the backing vocalists, and overall, this track did very well. 5 out of 5. Number 2 is a minute and 37 seconds song, and it's pretty strong for the run through, the runtime, so it's a 5 out of 5 too. It's not getting much for this track. You just get Spencer singing melodically in this track, and overall the drumming and the acoustic guitar work in this is pretty solid for the most part. So it's pretty melodic of a track, 5 out of 5. Build a Bridge and Jump Off It. Yeah, kind of fucked up title. Pretty strong track, but the title very concerning. Like, what are you condoning suicide? So this is Ice Nine Kills we're talking about. They drop a lot of horror themed albums, horror related topics with their albums, but overall I think this track did very well with Spencer's singing, and it did very well for the execution of the drumming and guitar work. 5 out of 5. I do and I don't. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this track, but it's pretty strong for what I thought of it. So it's another 5 out of 5. The intro moment is a little cringy, but it does pick up as you progress through the track, and it flows very well for the execution of Spencer's vocals, and the chorus is the highlight in this track. The first verse was kind of my weakest critique of it, but it wasn't terrible. It was still pretty good, just had a few cringe lines as you listen through it. So overall, I Do and I Don't is a 5 out of 5. Tonight We Dance interlude is another 42-second track going into the next track. So it's a 4.75 out of 5. It's not really much you get for this track. It's just some singing from Spencer a little bit and the Oz stuff. So it does very well from time to time. 4.75 out of 5. Murders and Acquisitions, I meant to say. Very strong track. I really enjoyed this one for the melody. I enjoyed the emo style moments of this track. I enjoyed the drumming and guitar work of this track. And yes, they are an emo metalcore band when they started off. So they started off like very emo-ish and dark thematic stuff. So it overall was a very strong way to open this record. Like, open with this debut album as their starting point, so 5 out of 5. What I really learned in study hall is pretty good, but the acoustic guitar work was pretty good, and so was Spencer singing, but it just felt a little safe, this track. But it's still pretty good in its own way, so 4.75 out of 5. Cinder Blocks and Thank You Knots is a very strong track. I really enjoyed this one. It is 4 minutes and 19 seconds. I'm sorry for the video lagging a few times during this review. It is really messing up because of the Ethernet cable being connected. I don't know, it just does that sometimes, and I'm very sorry that you have to experience that when you watch my video. But overall, Cinder Blocks and 5 out of 5. Very good track. And the last two songs, Family Unties, Finding Emo, is a 5 minute and 12-second track. The version I heard was 5 minutes and 12 seconds. The long version is like 12 minutes and 58 seconds. Because it has a pause moment, and then it goes into the last song. But overall, it's a very strong track. I didn't get to hear the pause moment with the silence moment of the track, but I think that's on the album version. But other than that, it's a 5 out of 5. Tossing Kelleher, I believe is how you pronounce it. Very good track. I really enjoyed the closing track on this record. It is a bonus track on the remastered version of the 2025 remastered version, but it overall did very well for the execution, so it's a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this track. Spencer's vocals did very well, and the execution and melody and how it's sounding drum and not electronic, but electric guitar wise stuff, it did very well, so 5 out of 5. So overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Last Chance to Make Amends by Ice Nine Kills is a really good record. I really enjoyed their debut studio album. I wouldn't say it's like the perfect score, but it is pretty good and a really good record. So it is enjoyable, but it's really short too. It's like 35 minutes if you don't include the silence moment. When you include the silence moment, it's like a 38.5-minute album. So technically the record is 30 minutes for the 10 tracks if you don't include Tossing Kelleher. But overall, it did very well for the execution, and I did enjoy this release. So if I were to give the Tuesday album review Ice Nine Kills Last Chance to Make Amends a score, I'm feeling a very strong 9 out of 10. Really good record, definitely rocks. Highly recommend you check this release out if you have not do it. It is enjoyable for the runtime, and execution-wise, most of the tracks did work. There was a few letdowns, but nothing to the extreme. It was mostly like the shorter tracks that were the letdowns, like the interludes and intro track and the short track, which was what I really learned in study hall. That one was pretty good, but on the safe side. But overall, I will have another Tuesday album review coming out next Tuesday, but it will be premiered. Don't worry, I'll make sure I stay on top of that next Tuesday. And it'll be for one that is kind of a Halloween themed one. Kind of, but not really. It's by a band, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. I just want you to be surprised next Tuesday when you see it. But overall, 9 out of 10 for Ice Nine Kills, Last Chance to Make Amends. I hope you enjoyed this album review for the Tuesday album review for Season 7, Episode 11, I believe it is. And thank you guys for watching.